The butterfly is an icon that goes back, I would say, more than a millennium. The butterfly is the symbol of our ancestors, our loved ones who come and visit us once a year, just like the monarchs do in Mexico. We always have monarch butterflies in our ofrendas. You know, an altar is an ofrenda, an offering, and the offering is whatever it is that who you're honoring. That endeavor of doing altars, ofrendas, it's a celebration of life. We always celebrate the life of those who have passed, but we can also celebrate those who are living. The ofrenda is a bridge that brings the living and the dead, but now it brings generations together and hopefully even cultures together.
Quetzal Flores. I am the founder, musical and artistic director of the band Quetzal. The origin story of Quetzal is really decades of expression coming from the Southwest in general, but specifically the east side of Los Angeles. Since it became a neighborhood, has always been this sort of sanctuary for people of color, for immigrants, and including Jewish Americans, including Eastern European folks that moved out here. This very particular sound emerges from that site that becomes the way that we articulate our lived reality as musicians. I am but a generation within that tradition called Chicano music.
We're a sonic manifestation of what it means to grow up and live, thrive, struggle in Los Angeles. As Chicanos in LA, we're influenced by everything around us, from our home culture with a lot of roots music, right? Boleros, sones of different parts of Latin America, but also rock, R&B. All of that is sort of filtered through our music by the time we create. It's like a sonic drive-by through the neighborhood when you listen to our music.
We've been doing this for 30 years. Our drive, our love for what we do comes from an accountability to that history and to the future generations.
Welcome. La bienvenida a este lugar tan hermoso, esta noche divina, esta oportunidad de compartir comunidad y recibir la ofrenda de Quetzal y los artistas que están aquí. Y nuestra ofrenda para ellos es tener el corazón y compartir nuestra intención de seguir los pasos y el sentimiento de justicia, de comunidad y amor.
First song we have tonight is called The Guide, La Guía. Being guided by the spirit, being guided by one another's spirit, and being able to keep in balance that mind, body, spirit, peace.
De desespero, no podemos olvidar, no podemos olvidar en tiempo de desespero.
El fuego que arde por dentro, la guía que se nos da en
que arde por dentro, la guía que se nos da en tiempo de desespero, no podemos olvidarlo.
En escombros de un amor hay chispas que persisten, del rencor nace el odio, con el tiempo se maldicen, la necedad del rencor como llanos que repiten, como el canto del arriero, la memoria sí persiste.
Momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán, que nunca se olvidarán. Momentos improvisados,
Momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán, que nunca se olvidarán. Momentos improvisados.
comentarios en silencio, la verdad nunca se va. Momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán.
Comentarios en silencio, la verdad nunca se va. Momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán.
En escombros de un amor hay chispas que persisten, del rencor nace el odio, con el tiempo se maldice, la necedad del rencor como llanos que repiten, hacia el canto del arriero, la memoria sí persiste. Soñé volverme en las nubes de mil colores y rasgos, elegir cualquier camino, soñar en mi liderazgo. No hay destino que me invade, me transformo como quiera, seré nube de tormenta o sombra sobre la momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán. Comentarios en silencio, la verdad nunca se va.
El fuego que yace dentro, la guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro, que siempre nos guiará.
La necedad del rencor, como llanos que repiten, hacia el canto del arriero, la memoria sí persiste.
El fuego que yace dentro, la guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro, que siempre nos guiará.
No hay destino que me invade, me transformo como quiera, seré nube de tormenta o sombra sobre la tierra.
El fuego que yace dentro, la guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro, que siempre nos guiará.
The theme of the night is Justice Never Dies. And so we created a set that spans the almost 30 years of the band. And we're gonna have different guests. La Marisol is gonna join us in one point. My son is gonna be on stage with us playing keyboards and singing.
We have Ramon Gutierrez and Lucia Gutierrez Rebolloso. They're father-daughter musicians. Ramon Gutierrez is a master musician, maestro from Veracruz, Mexico, in the son jarocho tradition, the Fandango tradition, and he's been a long-time supporter and mentor of ours.
My first guitar teacher from the neighborhood, he was this heavy metal dude. His name is Ruben Reza. So he's gonna play on Justice Never Dies. He's gonna play the solo. We have a very special guest who installed an altar onto the stage, or as an ofrenda, and her name is Ofelia Esparza.
Ofelia has been a great inspiration and a very respected elder in our community for many, many years. We're actually gonna sing a song about her that talks about some of the things that she does, and it's called Barrio Healer. We love her so much, and we're so grateful to all the knowledge that she imparts and how she reminds us constantly how we need to ground ourselves in community and in each other.
Walk, run, fly, earth, fire, water, sky, by real
Originally, I was playing a lot of improvised music, and they were looking for a violinist, and they came to see me at the cafe where I worked and invited me to come jam out in the parking lot. And I did that, and it was kind of like history from that point. I really supported their beliefs and perspectives on like social justice, and I just thought it was really empowering to be a part of a group like that and to be connected to folks who are like working in the community.
Our work has shown a consistent commitment to community issues, identity, Chicana feminism, a lot of the different sort of issues that we discuss in our music, but also our actual work on the ground, that it's not just about proliferating our own artistic creative work, but it's also about finding ways of constantly bringing community and pulling on community to be a part of some of these efforts, to see their own beauty and their own creativity.
We have the Community Power Collective, an organization that I formed with 5 other colleagues during the pandemic to continue the work that we were doing at a previous organization that had a financial crisis during the pandemic, to continue doing housing justice work and economic justice work. This organization is going to be present today, and so they're just going to come on and off the stage at different moments as interludes in between songs.
Todos tenemos un mundo ideal. Y en mi mundo ideal, quisiera que todos tuviéramos casa, que todos tuviéramos que comer, que ya no se pensara en ganar más dinero, en destruir al mundo, que ya no hubiera tanta gente viviendo en la calle, porque hay vivienda, pero está vacía, porque la gente sublime no tiene ese derecho, porque le ponen muchas condiciones para adquirir un apartamento. En mi mundo ideal, ya no quiero ver niños viviendo en un carro, tomando clases con esta pandemia de un carro. Eso ya no quiero ver. Antes de esta pandemia, había niños durmiendo en su carro, lavándose la cara en los parques para poder ir a la escuela. Eso no es mi mundo ideal. Por eso les quiero pedir que luchemos, porque todos tenemos derecho a un techo, a comida, porque eso es esencial para todo ser humano. Hold me, see the mushroom rise. Hold me while the flowers die. Kiss me as the rivers run dry. I believe your lips are all I need. I won't go thirsty, I will not cry. As the world ends around us, as others fight and die, we know we've done all we could. Embrace me now, I won't cry, because even in the end, I feel strong by your side. 'Cause as hard as we've loved, we're victorious, and justice
The dust has settled. Open your eyes, we're still alive. Some evaporated, sold out, gave up, or just went blind. But we can see and look, everything we built is intact. The way we love and celebrate, the way we laugh as we rebuild the world around us, as others still find time. We keep doing all we can. We don't just survive, we wanna thrive. 'Cause in this new beginning, I feel strong by your side. 'Cause as hard as we learn, we're victorious, and justice never dies. Our lives never die. Our visions never
The son jarocho is a music from Veracruz, Mexico, that has been a part of Chicano music for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I know you know this piece called La Bamba, okay? Now, Richie Valens in the 50s probably heard this on the radio or recordings, and it was like, this was like more of like a pop version of son jarocho that he heard. That was like, you know, CBS was recording a lot of groups and putting a lot of music out at the time. Mexico was like sort of an epicenter of a lot of culture production. The whole Mexican cinema during the time, and mariachi music starts to emerge during that time, and so does son jarocho. Now the fandango is the ritual ceremony where son jarocho is born, okay? It's participatory dance, music, and poetry in a community space. Anybody can participate. You can dance, you can sing, you know, you got to know the protocol. You have to know how to arrive, but you can participate.
This next tune is called Fandango Fronterizo, which is one of many political manifestations that the Fandango has brought us to. And once a year, and around April, May, you have folks on both the US and the Mexican side of the US-Mexican border, Friendship Park, San Diego, and Tijuana side, get together, and we actually have a Fandango, 2 tarimas stuck on both sides of the border. And we actually, through sound, music, and this wonderful community practice, we will the border out of existence for those 2 hours. The shameful border. And that's what this song, original song, is all about.
con mi hijo. Arana, voz y requinto, en la tarima mantengo la raíz de donde vengo, te canta el son preciso, los rostros negro y mestizo que cumplen un porvenir, hoy que nos vuelve a reunir el fandango fronterizo.
Cruza cualquier frontera y saludo la bandera del pueblo más aguerrido para construir un nido. La tierra me da su trenza, la tierra es madre que piensa y me dice con poder que no me va a detener y el muro de la vergüenza.
Quetzal creates community wherever he is, wherever the band is. So it's like Quetzal the person and then Quetzal the band, you know. Like whether it be on the street corner or in a prison or, you know, in a world-class theater, or it's just about it being able to engage with like the folks, you know, and music is there for everybody. The music is there to be created and to be enjoyed by everybody. And so I think that it's kind of hard to escape that sense of community.
We've learned in the past 30 years that there's other ways to be in community with music besides getting on a stage and performing. We've been developing this thing called collective songwriting. We're in a space with a particular group of people. So whoever plays an instrument, whoever doesn't, it's not a big deal. The criteria here is depth of participation. And so what we do is we have a conversation. We move that conversation from a point of what we call testimonio, people telling their stories. We move from that into people connecting their stories. And then from that into a collective vision for whatever it is we're talking about. It could be housing rights. It could be love. You know, I did one of these in prison about love. And there was this whole discussion between the participants, the men, about what should go first, fear or tears? Or was it tears or fear? And that discussion, that whole process of discussing that opened so many pathways up for healing for these men. In our set tonight is a song called Grito de alegria, the scream of happiness, right? And so this is how we learned collective songwriting. We're in the mountains of Chiapas with indigenous revolutionaries called the Zapatistas.
The Zapatista movement is a movement that really identifies autonomy and self-determination for communities in struggle.
In 1997, we had a cultural retreat with these folks. And there was a woman there, a former nun who sued the archdiocese for their gender practices. Okay, her name is Rosa Marta Zarate. And so she had this method. And she was the one facilitating the music workshop. She's like, we're gonna do this songwriting collective. And we're like, okay, let's see how this goes. And she started to do it, and we were like, it was like magic. And then the next day we did another one. That first day, Grito de Alegria came out of that. And so we're gonna play that song tonight.
El gobierno manipula, encarcela y asesina. Nosotros los zapatistas romperemos las cadenas. Si nos robaron la tierra, si nos quitaron el pan, el pueblo que marcha unido logrará la libertad. El pueblo que marcha unido vencerá. Zapatistas somos todos y luchamos por la guerra. Dignidad, paz y justicia y libertad son nuestras metas. Si nos robaron la tierra, si nos quitaron el pan, el pueblo que marcha unido logrará la libertad. El pueblo que marcha unido vencerá. Si nos robaron la tierra, si nos quitaron el pan, el pueblo que marcha unido logrará la libertad. El pueblo que marcha
anywhere we go, we will find a way to connect to an actual community. As artists and actually self-identified activistas, that's kind of what that term signals to, right? Because having an artist activist is nothing new, but being an activista is really a signal to process-based work, which is something we've also been dedicating a lot of our time and energy to.
We have to be able to see ourselves as connected to something else. And so people like Ofelia, people like the elders in Veracruz that we've learned from, all those people have laid a foundation and continue to carry these traditions forward so that we could inherit them, so my son could inherit it, to innovate and to move forward and to do things that are special with it and to love it and care for it and treat it with that dignity and respect that it deserves.